Why am I so afraid just to say a hello? Hey. Or to pick up the phone just to say what is up? It's been a long time and I've been thinking. Give you a call to shoot the shit and fill you in, we're reminiscing. Yeah. On the dumb things we did when we were only little children. Up in the hills smoking cigarillos, waiting on a vision of what our life would be like if we were dreaming and together we were wishing. Cause now I'm living in the city and you're back home, and all I'm doing is I'm singing. Yes, I'm singing. Oh, I don't feel how I used to anymore. I don't hear from you like I used to anymore. Let's run it back and kick it like we used to. Or call me back and tell me something new. Now we're off of this beat and I'm spitting a cappella. Back in the day in school with you fools when I was younger, we never skipped class, we were living life waiting on the summer. Now we live so fast, it's hard to see the seasons change. There goes another of what our life would be like if we were dreaming and together we were wishing. Cause now I'm living in the city and you're back home, and all I'm doing is I'm singing. Yes, I'm singing. Oh, I don't feel how I used to anymore. I don't hear from you like I used to anymore. Let's run it back and kick it like we used to. Or call me back and tell me something new. I don't hear from you like I used to. From you like I used to. I don't feel like I used to. Oh, I don't feel how I used to. I don't feel anymore. I don't hear from you like I used to. No, I don't anymore. Let's run it back and kick it like we used to. So call me back and tell me something new.
Hey guys, so I apologize if you can hear any fans in the background. I'm currently in London and it is really hot here. I didn't expect it. It's been kind of warm at home, but it is around 25 degrees here, and yeah, I need these fans on because I'm currently just not surviving. I have been saying for the last couple of weeks that I had to go away for a couple of days this month. This is where I'm going. I'm going to London, but at this moment I can't tell you why I'm in London. I can tell you that you will know why I've been here by November, but yeah, sadly right now my lips are sealed. So I did want to start this vlog before I left home, just so that I didn't really have to worry about doing a sit down update. However, yesterday I was doing a whole ton of work to get ready to leave, and I didn't really have too much to fill you in on anyway, and this morning was a little bit of a rush so that I could get my train down here. However, I am very happy to let you guys know that I have actually just finished a book. Now, the last time I checked in with you at the end of last week's vlog, I was reading Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. I am still reading that book. I haven't read any of it since. I decided that as I was finding it quite slow that I would pick up something a little bit faster paced, so I have started and finished Twisted Fate by Jessie Elliott. So this was a review copy that was sent to me by Jessie Elliott to read and review for you guys. It is a new adult fae romance story. We follow a girl called Aurora who is a college student. She has just started her final year of college and she goes to a party with her friends where she is kidnapped. Now, the people who kidnap her are the Fae, and they do end up letting her go because it turns out that she is not actually the person they were after, on the condition that she will help them find the person they're looking for and let them know when she has found them. So that actually takes up very little of the plot. The bulk of the fantasy plot line in here is to do with a war between two factions of Fae, the Light Fae and the Dark Fae. The love interest in here is the leader of the Dark Fae, who is the one who kidnapped Aurora, and essentially she doesn't like him because he kidnapped her, which is a valid reason. They just don't really get on. She finds him attractive, but she's annoyed. He's the owner of this massive hotel. He's a very successful businessman, and she finds him a little bit arrogant, and he keeps asking her to dinner and she keeps telling him no. So I gave this one 3 stars. I really liked the romance elements in here. My main issue with this book, I'm gonna say like it's my only issue that I had, but it is a pretty big issue, and that is that I just found everything to be a little bit too quick. Like, as I mentioned, that whole kidnapping plotline, her going to the party, being kidnapped, being released, then finding the person she's looking for, and that whole thing just being resolved is no more than 3 chapters, and the chapters aren't particularly long, and it just kind of felt like one thing after another after another after another, to the point where it felt very, very disjointed, because it felt like we were hopping around all over the place. It would have a scene and then it would say a few hours later something happened, and I felt like the scenes were either too short or didn't really need to be there, or they just weren't quite fleshed out because we were skipping through time a little bit. So I would say that there was a little bit of weakness in the plot. I didn't feel the romance at the beginning just because of how quick everything was moving. It felt like these characters had spoken like 3 words to each other and had built up like an attraction and also a dislike. So yeah, I did enjoy it though. I think I will continue with the series, because when we got into the little bit more romantic parts and also the smut in here, I did really enjoy that. I just think plot wise it wasn't as well constructed as I would have liked. As you guys know, I do like my fantasy romance, and this is also something that could get better with time. Like throughout the series it may get a little bit better and I may end up enjoying it more. However, that being said, 3 stars is not a bad rating. I did like this book. So this one was on my Bookoplathon TBR. I believe it was to read a book with a dark cover, as it has a black background, which means that I have 3 books left on my Bookoplathon TBR with I think a week to go after today. So I can't remember what page of Way of Kings Part 1 I'm on, but I think I have around maybe 150, 250 pages of that left. I'm not sure. I have brought it with me, so the next time I do pick up a book it is going to be Way of Kings Part 1, and that will be the next book I finish. I also have Way of Kings Part 2, which is around 500 pages, and I also have The Mermaid, the Witch and the Sea by Maggie Takuda Hall, which is around 400 pages I think. So I have fallen behind now. I think at this moment I'm around 90 pages behind on my TBR, maybe a little bit more, and yeah, I'm getting concerned because I did really well, and then I've started to slip right in the last full week of the readathon. However, I am still pretty confident that I can either finish this TBR or get a decent way through my last book, because the way my Bookopoly punishment works is that I don't actually have to finish all of the books. As long as I have started the last book on my TBR by the end of the month, I don't have to take punishment. It's going to be a little bit difficult this month because the way that the days of the month fall, I have to film Bookopoly and have it up for Sunday when there's still 3 or 4 days of the month left. But yeah, I think I'm still going to be able to make it work. The only real issue with my reading is that I do not foresee myself reading a whole lot tomorrow at all, because tomorrow is the day that the thing I'm in London for is actually happening. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm still pretty confident, but I am starting to fall behind a little bit now. Hey guys, so it has been quite a few days. It's Friday afternoon now and I am back home. There has been a reason for me not vlogging. First off, I was in London on Wednesday all day. I got home at around 11 p.m. and then the reason I haven't updated you since then is that when I got home from London, I could not for the life of me remove my contact lenses from my eyes. I'd been in an environment with really strong, really hot lighting for the entirety of the day, and they had just really dried out my contact lenses. So I have nails, so contact lens removal can be a bit of a struggle anyway, but I normally like put my finger on my lens, slide it to the edge, and then just kind of like peel it out. But because they were so dried, I just could not get a grip on them. They were not sliding across my eyes at all. So we had Ashley try, Curtis tried. Curtis was drowning my eyes in saline solution to try and moisten my contact lenses, and they were just really not coming out. So I ended up going to A&E so that they could take my contact lenses out for me. But yeah, as you can see just a little bit, my eyes are still a little bit red. Yesterday they were really red. Wednesday night they were really red, like the entire white of my eye was red. But I did have my eye health checked while I was there just to make sure that I hadn't damaged anything with them being in so long. It was just a day. I hadn't slept in them or anything. My eyes are fine. I haven't damaged them. They're just going to be sore for a couple of days. They do feel much better today. They're hardly sore at all. I can touch them now without wincing, which is great. But yeah, yesterday I just had bright red eyes that were really sore, and they were also kind of crusty. So I thought, you know what, I'm just not going to vlog today. I'll catch up with you guys tomorrow. So where I'm up to, I do have Way of Kings here. I have not read a lot at all. I'm currently 400 pages behind on my Bookopoly TBR, which is definitely not ideal, but I'm on page 420 of Way of Kings part 1. I do kind of want to finish this tonight, although that will be 180 pages. It's difficult as well because usually I would say that I'll probably manage it because the pace is going to pick up, but because this is the first part of Way of Kings, the end of this book will only take me to halfway through the full book, so I don't know whether the pace is actually going to pick up. Kind of want to give you a little bit of an overview about what this is about, as I haven't mentioned it in this vlog aside from to say that I'm reading it. It is an adult epic fantasy. It's the first book in the Stormlight archive, and it is multiple perspective. At the minute it is very slow going, and I still cannot give you a very comprehensive view of the plot, but we have a few main characters, one of which is a woman called Shalon, who has headed to a different country to study under this prestigious scholar. However, she doesn't want to learn anything from her. She wants to steal something this woman has called a soulcaster. We also have Kaladin, who at the start of this is a soldier, and he ends up being a slave. So a lot of the beginning of this book is him traveling to his new master. And then we also have a character called Dalinar, who is one of the high princes. There's a war going on between the Parshendi and Alethkar, I think is the name of the country, and Dalinar is one of the high princes of Alethkar. So they had this really weird war going on the Shattered Plains, which is like a series of plateaus, and this war is the Alethi trying to gain revenge on something that happened when they signed a peace treaty. Now, the something that happened is that their king was assassinated, and that happens right at the beginning of the book. So the Parshendi assassinated the Alethi king, and the Alethi are now fighting this war to get revenge. However, the war's been going on so long that it's kind of not really about that anymore. It's just an endless series of battles, and the high princes are all kind of autonomous, but they've been brought together by this cause. However, they are still very much in competition, and Dalinar has been having visions, and he's trying to bring the war to an end. The magic system in here, I still don't have a full picture of it, just because this is unlike anything I've read from Brandon Sanderson before. He's normally very good at explaining everything as it happens, but there are still things in here that I'm just really confused about. An example of this is that I found out in the last chapter I read that the Parshendi have orange blood. Now, usually it's kind of explained why this is a thing, but this book is more like the Parshendi have orange blood, and then it's just kind of left. I do trust in Brandon Sanderson that this is all going to come together. I have heard that this book is very slow to get into, but it's worth it by the end, and just the series as a whole, and I do trust that I'm going to end up loving this series eventually, but at the moment it is just really slow, and I'm dragging my feet on it. I'm kind of enjoying reading it. My kind of issue at the moment is that I don't like the setting of this. It's very deserty and barren, and with little explanation in the world building. I'm just struggling to understand everything at the moment, but eventually I know it's all going to come together. So that's where I'm up to with this, and hopefully I'll be able to finish this tonight. Before I go into the other thing that I have to fill you in on, I should probably mention that I had a really great time in London. It was a marvelous experience, and I hope I get to do it again sometime. Obviously I can't tell you guys exactly what it is that I've been and done, but what I can say is that you will definitely know by November. So yeah, I'm sorry that I can't tell you. I wish I could, because it was really exciting, but you'll find out soon, and I hope you love the thing that I did. And so the other thing I have is that I received a parcel this morning, and this is from Penguin Random House, and this is a finished copy of Deadly Education by Naomi Novik, which is the first book in the Scholomance series. Now I do have, ooh, the press release is really cool for this. Oh, Oh, this is great. It says, dear student, with our deepest sympathies and commiserations, we must inform you that you have been accepted into the Scholomance. As you are doubtless aware, there are innumerable Maleficar prowling the world in search of vulnerable magic users, and such an encounter would most likely prove fatal. Here at the Scholomance, the world's preeminent institution for the study of magic, you will learn to defend yourself against these creatures of darkness. However, they are no less plentiful within the walls of the Scholomance. This is no sanctuary. You will learn or you will die. We highly recommend that you elect to attend the Scholomance, as to do so improves your chances of survival from 1 in 20 to 1 in 4. The world is cruel to those of us capable of magic. Only the Scholomance prepares you to withstand that cruelty. We earnestly hope that you survive to graduate. Yours with commiserations, the Scholomance. So this is Naomi Novik's newest book. I believe it's released, is it Tuesday coming? I don't think it's quite out yet. I have got this a little bit early, but all I know about it is that it is an adult fantasy that takes place in a magic school. Now, it has been published as adult. However, I have heard from people who've read it that it does read like young adult, which kind of makes sense because it's set in a magic school. I do also have an e-arc of this, which I haven't gotten around to reading yet, but it is on my October TBR. I filmed part of Bookoplathon yesterday, so I do know that I'm going to be getting this in. I'm really excited to read this because it just sounds amazing. I have still yet to read anything from Naomi Novik, but I believe that she has beautiful writing, so I'm definitely 100% excited for that. So yeah, thank you so much to Penguin for sending this my way. It also has absolutely beautiful end pages, and oh, the back ones are different as well. Oh, I'm so excited to read this. This is definitely a fall read. I feel it in my bones. I'm gonna really enjoy reading this snuggled up on the sofa, because in the UK as well, it's just turned really, really cold and it's raining all the time. And usually, you know, that weather would be a little bit annoying, but I'm really in a reading mood, so I'm actually just really enjoying it.
Wouldn't say I was flashy, wouldn't say I was rich. You wouldn't leave here right now with me. Instead of that fool you came with, you wouldn't start dancing with a complete stranger. You wouldn't happen to have the time. Never mind, we can talk about that later. Tonight, 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 I'm not worried about the price. I feel good on the nights. Tonight, 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 I didn't come here to fight for who's wrong or who's right. I'm just trying to keep things light. Tonight, 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 tonight. I wouldn't call it unnatural, I wouldn't call it polite. You couldn't show me one thing that's all black or all
Hey guys,
white.
so I'm just getting ready to film Bookoplathon. Honestly, filming Bookoplathon takes me so long to set up everything I need. Like, I've been working on this for hours, just getting all the stuff I need ready and getting myself ready. I'm wearing my little devil ears as well because it's my October TBR. But every single year I forget, because Halloween's at the end of October, I forget that in September I need to prepare for my October TBR. So I'm just wearing the devil ears that I bought last year. I think I did my TBR in cat ears last year, but yeah, it's very low key, but it's also very red, and I thought that this would end up looking quite garish, but it actually works and I'm really happy with it. So last night, or should I say this morning at around 4 AM, I finally finished The Way of Kings Part 1 by Brandon Sanderson. I gave this 4 stars. Now, I do understand that this is half of a book, so my rating for the first half is 4 stars. However, when I talk about it in a wrap up, I will be reviewing the book as a whole, and when I read Way of Kings Part 2, I will also consider the book as a whole and then maybe adjust my rating on this, just because it's kind of unfair to rate a book on half of the story, because it is just half a book. So like, we don't have an epic plot conclusion in here because it's not the end of the book. You know, I don't need to keep explaining this. So like I said, I did give this 4 stars. Now, Brandon Sanderson's writing in here is good. I've mentioned before, it's very different to his writing style that I'm used to. Things just generally aren't explained like he usually does in... Ooh. I have mail. So that was my fairy loot. So I now have something else that I'm going to be filming today, but where was I? So Brandon Sanderson writing is different than I've read from him before. He doesn't explain things like he usually does in the previous books that I've read from him, but he does do a thing in this where kind of nothing makes sense, and then he'll just start to maybe give you a little hint, or he'll say something, and if you can connect it to things that have been mentioned before, it all suddenly makes sense. So as I was getting further into this book, that was starting to happen, and I was like linking together all of these things that I didn't understand, which I definitely really enjoyed. Like, you can't really fault Brandon Sanderson on the logic of his books. Everything does make sense. He's one of those authors where I could ask him a random question on his world and he would have the answer. Like, he just has such well developed, well thought out worlds. So I definitely really enjoyed that about this. It's a very, very slow book to start off with because it is like a 1000 and something page book. So my interest in picking this up was not very high. Like, I was enjoying it while I was reading it, but just because it was slow going and nothing was really happening, it was a little bit of a slog. The characters are okay. I wouldn't say that I love any of them yet, but I do enjoy reading from at least some of the perspectives. My favorite character perspective to read from so far would probably be Shallan, and I do also enjoy Kaladin's perspectives, mainly because of Syl and Rock, and there is actually quite a bit about Hoyd throughout this book. So I have some theories. I'm really excited to continue and read the second part of this, which I will be picking up in just a couple of days. It is 100 pages shorter than the first half, so it shouldn't take me quite as long. However, at this point, I'm pretty confident that I'm going to be starting it in September, but I don't think I'm going to manage to finish it. So for my Bookoplathon TBR, this was for... oh my god, what was this for? Okay, yeah, so for my Bookoplathon TBR, this was to read my most recent purchase, as the last things I purchased at the time was a Waterstones order that had a whole ton of Brandon Sanderson in. So the next book I'm going to pick up is going to be a little bit of a palette cleanser in between the two halves of Way of Kings, and that is going to be The Mermaid, the Witch and the Sea by Maggie Takuda Hall. This is a young adult fantasy, and this is also an ARC that was sent to me by Walker Books, so thank you so much to Walker for sending this my way. This has actually already been released. I think it had been released in the US anyway, but in the UK the publishing date was the beginning of September. I have fallen a little bit behind because I've been requesting ARCs through summer and they're all like September, October releases, and now they've all kind of just come at once. So I am a little bit behind, but I am still trying to read my review books in the month that they're published and get them all done. I haven't actually fallen behind in that way yet. What I know about this is that it follows a pirate called Flora, who was born Florian, who is a pirate on a ship called the Dove, and there's this highborn lady on the ship who is on her way to an arranged marriage that she doesn't want, and Flora and this lady start to grow closer, and together they hatch a plan to release a captured mermaid. In the press release for this, which I have no idea what I've done with it, it does say that there is some LGBT rep in here. It does mention specifically gender boundaries, so I'm really excited to read this and see how all of that stuff comes into play. And yeah, the cover for this is absolutely stunning, so I do hope I really enjoy it. And then for my Bookoplathon TBR, this book is to read a book that has LGBTQIA+ rep. So that is all I have for you so far. I am going to go and now film my Fairy Loot unboxing, followed by my Bookopoly TBR, because I do also have to get my Bookopoly TBR edited and scheduled and everything today as well. So I'm gonna go do that, and I'll catch up with you guys later. Hey, so it's like 1:30 AM on Sunday night, Monday morning now. I really could do with getting better about actually wrapping my vlog up at a decent time on a Sunday instead of coming to you in the middle of the night all the time. But I have a reading update for you guys. I'm not going to go very in depth with this while it is the end of the vlog, but I'm currently on page 236 of The Mermaid, the Witch and the Sea by Maggie Takuda Hall. I'm actually really enjoying this, and the synopsis is a little bit different than I thought it was going into it. Essentially, where I said that this pirate, who is Flora/Florian, is growing closer to this highborn lady on a ship, the main thing that the synopsis leaves out that you find out in the prologue is that this ship is disguised as a passenger ship and is actually a slaver. So Florian kind of grows close to this girl, knowing that she's going to be taken as a slave, and doesn't really tell her. It's darker than I expected it to be. There are trigger warnings in here for sexual assault, also slavery, and a little bit of homophobia, but I am actually really enjoying it. I really love the representation in here. This does touch upon gender identity. I'm not sure to what extent yet, because essentially what's happening with the character of Flora/Florian is that they have been forced to become a man so that they fit in with this pirate crew. through, as it would be dangerous for them to be a girl, but they do identify themselves as both Flora and Florian. So I'm interested to see how that transpires throughout the rest of the book. There is also a female-female relationship right at the beginning of this as well, as one of the kind of obstacles that has to be overcome in this book is that the highborn lady, who is called Evelyn, is actually attracted to women, and that is not something that is acceptable in this world. Highborn women have to marry really successful rich men. I am really loving all of the representation, how it's portrayed in here, although I can't really speak for any of it. And I am also really enjoying how the story is told. I do really like the writing style, and as well as that, it kind of has the feel of like an old story, like a tale. I don't want to say it reads like a fairy tale or anything, I'm not getting those vibes from it, but maybe what I'm trying to say is like the atmosphere is really good. I'm not really sure how to describe it, because normally if I read something and feel like this, I would say that it is very fairy tale-esque or could be considered as a modern fairy tale, but no, I'm not getting those vibes from it, but it does feel very well placed in this fantastical time period that it's supposed to be in. There are also old tales of the world embedded into the story as well, which I'm really enjoying. So I have less than 200 pages of this left now. I'm currently running a sprint on Discord that finishes at 2:15, which is the main reason that I'm still awake. I am very tired, but I do hope to finish this tomorrow evening so that I can get on with the final book on my Bookopoly TBR. Aside from that, I just have a couple of books to show you guys. I did take Ashley back home earlier in the day, and I have borrowed one book off her, and she has also given me a book. So the one that she has given me is A Song of Wraiths and Ruin by Roseanne A. Brown. This is a book that has been catching my eye for a long time because of this absolutely stunning cover. It is an Own Voices story by a black author, and I have just really wanted to read this. The only reason I haven't picked this up myself is that I'm really trying to limit the amount of books that are the first book in a series that I buy until I clear through some of the books that I already own. But wow, like the spine on this is beautiful as well. I don't have anything else that I can say about this because I literally know nothing about the plot. It has just really caught my eye because it has a stunning cover, and I've also heard a lot of really good reviews for this. It is also a young adult fantasy as far as I'm aware. And the book that I have borrowed from Ashley, you will know if you have seen my October Bookopoly TBR, because that is Gods of Jade and Shadow by Sylvia Marino Garcia. This is on my October TBR. It is the book that I pulled for my monthly Inner Circle Patreon draw. This book was recommended to me by Kylie. I'm kind of glad that this one came out. Of all the ones that I had in the draw, this was one of the ones that I was least interested in, but it is also one of the shortest ones that was in there. And like with A Song of Wraiths and Ruin, this is one that has really caught my attention based on the cover. I've also heard some pretty good reviews of this. I'm just really trying not to get sucked in by books that people are recommending recently, just because I really don't need books, and I am quite good at filtering through things, and if I don't need books, I stop paying attention as much to what people are recommending, just so that I don't buy books that I'm not going to read for a while. However, in my Bookopoly TBR, I did read the synopsis of this off Goodreads, and I am really excited to read this now. It sounds really, really interesting. I don't remember a whole ton about the synopsis because when I'm reading things aloud, I'm focusing more on enunciating than actually taking in what I'm reading. But from what I remember, this is a book that contains a lot of Mexican folklore, and it follows a girl who finds an ancient chest in her grandfather's room and accidentally releases a Mayan god of death. So I'm now really excited about reading this. I will 100% be getting to this in October. So thank you so much to Ashley for lending this to me, and also thank you to Kylie for recommending it. So with all of that out of the way, it is time to wrap up this vlog. Honestly, it's going to be wild editing this because this week has been so much of a whirlwind that I actually have very little recollection of what footage I have for the vlog. But this was the last full week of the Bookoplathon. We do have 3 more days left, as I believe the last day of September is on Wednesday. So I will, I guess, talk to you guys a little bit more about the end of Bookoplathon and Bookoplathon in general next week. But for now, I hope you have enjoyed this vlog if you've made it this far. If you have, please don't forget to like if you liked it and subscribe if you wanna, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.
Oh, you bite your friend like chocolate. You say you're ready to go where nobody knows, with guns hidden under our petticoats. We're never gonna quit it, no, we're never gonna quit it, no.